After this, aware that everything was now finished, in order that the scripture might be fulfilled, Jesus said, "I thirst." I thirst. What was Jesus thirsting for? I picture Jesus on the cross, looking out at the crowd persecuting him. And I picture him thirsting for them to see, thirsting for them to truly see, thirsting for each and every one of us to be able to see the gift before us. Pope Francis has been encouraging us to welcome and embrace those who are on the margins of our society and those who have been continually marginalized by the church. He said the Catholics should see God in the hungry and the unemployed, the incarcerated, and those who have lost their faith or declared themselves to be atheists or turned away from the practice of the faith. And this is scandalous to some people. I feel like I've been trying to quench a thirst all of my life, thirsting for a spiritual connection, thirsting to see Jesus. This thirst compelled me to follow my passion, to become an advocate on homelessness. Because even before I became Catholic, I could see Jesus in the poor and the marginalized. Believe me, I didn't go into it for the big bucks. I thirst. If I'm to be honest, I must admit that seeing Jesus in the poor and the marginalized comes pretty natural for me. It's just how I'm wired, I guess. It's pretty easy. But quenching that thirst isn't easy for anyone because we are all challenged to see. Although it's natural for me to see Jesus in the poor and the marginalized, it's been a lifelong challenge for me to see him in Christians. No offense to anyone here today, but this barrier made me avoid the church and those church people for years. I avoided the church like the plague because I felt judged and unwelcome. I didn't fit what I perceived to be the Christian mold. I'm on the margins. A number of years ago, I struck up an unlikely friendship with a Monsignor who's a canon lawyer and my polar opposite. Very much so. But a genuine love and respect grew between us. And then we began challenging each other in a good way. One day, he asked me to promise him to go to a church and find the red candle and say a prayer for him. I rolled my eyes and I told him that he knew how I felt about prayer, that I might as well just talk to the wall. But I promised. I walked past churches and couldn't get myself to go in the door every day for 2 months. Come on now, that's where all the church people hung out. But finally I made it through the door. I found myself right here in St. Dominic's, right next to that column right there. I found the red candle. It's normally over there by the tabernacle, and it's lit to show when the Eucharist is present. The craziest thing happened. I'm sitting next to my column and I experienced something. I experienced a taste of what I'd been thirsting for all my life. My perception of God had always been hate. But as I sat next to my column before the red candle, I experienced pure love. This tripped me out. I experienced the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, and I didn't even know what the Eucharist was, but I began to see. I'm greedy, though. I thirst to hear him. I thirst to touch him. I thirst to hug him. I'm like a needy little child that never gets enough. I think that's why he's blessed me with being able to see him in the poor and the marginalized. I see Jesus every day as I walk down the streets of San Francisco. I see him. I see Jesus in our homeless brothers and sisters. What a gift. I get to touch him. I get to listen to him. I get to hug him. I think he's the one that gave me scabies last year. I get to eat him every day. And no, I don't take a bite out of people on the street. I eat him when I go to Mass, and I receive him in the Eucharist. He's in me. I thirst. What does that mean for us today? When I hear him say, I thirst, I believe he thirsts for us to see, for us to open our eyes. In this great city named after St. Francis, in this day and age, we have been given a gift. Homelessness, poverty, and marginalization is not hidden. It can be seen on our streets. It can be seen seeking refuge on the steps of our parish. This is a gift that can save our souls. Do we see this as a gift? Do we see this as an opportunity to encounter Christ? It can be difficult to see this gift for what it is. Let's be honest, this gift can make us really uncomfortable, and yet it nourishes our souls. St. Francis couldn't always see it. After he encountered the leopard, he said, "What had previously nauseated me became a source of spiritual and physical consolation." So it even took practice for St. Francis to see. Can we see? Can we see the gift before us? Can we see the gift that he thirsts for us to see? The gift that can save our souls. Can we see Jesus? My Monsignor buddy took a risk. He took a risk to go out to the margins. Are you willing to take a risk to see?